Welcome to the Mahadeva. Well, we thought of taking yet another interesting topic today through the Mahadeva, the knowledge discussion. We thought that we should ponder upon something which is of extreme importance to most of you, I think almost all of you. So that the most interesting topic today is Buddhism and business. And to talk about this topic, I think I have invited the most relevant resource person. He is none other than Mr. Vipula Wanigasekera, former diplomatic officer, lecturer in marketing and tourism. He is presently attached to Sri Lanka Tourism, as well as he is the proud author of the book Pointers to Enlightenment. He too is a meditation teacher, especially to tourists who come to Sri Lanka. So we warmly welcome you to the Mahadeva. And as I said, viewers, our topic today is Buddhism and business. And I'm sure you have heard that the Buddha once has told the audience who was listening to him that one should save two-fourths of what he or she earns and reinvest in business. So you can understand that the Buddha has made a special and interesting point there, which he regarded as important when considering the lay people. So now coming to that point, first I would like to ask you, how does one reconcile Dhamma with the current day present business institutions in the corporate world?
I'm glad you used the word Dhamma instead of Buddhism, because
Yes.
Buddhism represents what shall I say, organized religion. I think Dhamma is always the correct way of identifying the philosophy of Buddha, because Dhamma means the truth. And in Lord Buddha's philosophy, you can actually classify Dhamma into two. One is the laukika or mundane aspect,
yes.
and the other one is the lokuttara, the life hereafter. Now, in mundane teachings, you find, including Singalovada Sutra and Arabhava Mangala Sutra, all these sutras are for the benefit of the people to deal with mundane problems and how to lead a life without being a burden to another. Now, if you look at the modern corporate world, one wonders as to how you could reconcile the Buddhistic teachings in the practices of businesses, because if you look at most of the business organizations, they are profit-driven organizations. They always talk about the profits they make. Now, for instance, if you look at the newspapers, they will say, this company has made 3 billion, 4 billion profit before tax or after tax, and the company is proud to present that kind of statistics. It's a profit, that they have made. But it's very rare you see a company that will say this is the rate of satisfaction of our employees, for instance. And with due respect to the industries, there are so many companies, and they are the ones who are running the economy. And also another thing is that some organizations, apart from the employee satisfaction, although they have the very high rate of profits, the employee turnover is equally high, in the sense the people who are coming and then they are leaving the place. So obviously something is wrong somewhere. So just as much as there's profit as an indicator, or what they call KPI, key performance index, they call in business, whether there is a need to look at the other indicators such as employee satisfaction, the employee turnover, and the vision of the employees for their future in this organization need to be looked at just as much as you emphasize on the profit. Now, how you can bring Dhamma into this. For instance, let us say how sincere is the organization with regard to their customers. You have in the 5 precepts, Musavada, Viramana. So how truthful are you to your customers? Today you can see advertisements after advertisements. Are they true? The messages they are trying to convey, or they are trying to take advantage of the customers through impulse buying. You see the advertisement, you rush into this, and then you realize, no, the product is, it's like you get younger by 10 years if you use this soap, something like that. I am not pointing at any particular company, but is it really true? So how truthful are you? Now, they might make a short term profit by doing that kind of things, but in the long run, sooner or later, it will backfire on the company. And secondly, where is, when it comes to organizations, you have people, you have customers, you have, other stakeholders. Now, what about this element of Maitri in Brahma Viharana?
Loving kindness.
Loving kindness, you understand each other, understand each other's problems, and people have enormous problems, while they are working. Is there any kind of counseling services that they have? Because if you are not happy at home, you can't be productive in your workplace either. So this is how you can really bring the Buddhistic teachings into the business organizations. But of course, there is this notion, people might say, it's not practical.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, sir, because you were talking about applying loving kindness, Maitri, and all that. But one might say, if there is one like that who would like to apply loving kindness and who lives according to the Dhamma and does business according to the Dhamma and all that, one might say you are not suitable for the business.
Let me give you a small example. Now, there is a model, a behavioral model called Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which they are using in universities widely right across the world to show how the customer needs can be fulfilled. And this model shows how when one desire is fulfilled, there arises the other desire, then that is fulfill another desire. Now, who said these things 2,500 years ago? Your desires are unlimited, and finally you are never satisfied, and you really don't need Abraham Maslow to tell particularly the Buddhists, because Buddhists knew this throughout. So therefore, you can easily apply that kind of teachings into your business, because you understand, like the product life cycle, which says, every product, every brand, every institution, every organization has a life cycle, because what are we talking about? Law of impermanence.
Yeah, sure.
So this is how you. So the thing is, the mindset of the people is that Dhamma is this. It is for you to practice Dhamma and seek enlightenment.
Like
your
a
business,
hobby. Like a hobby.
Yeah, and business is something else, and you have to be ruthless, and you have to be profit oriented, and you chase the people who are, because I am also from the private sector. I worked in the private sector a long time ago before I joined the government, because I remember those days in the 70s and 80s, there were some organizations, I must tell you that, they go to the extent of telling you after you are selected, there's something that, the HR managers at that time, we didn't use the word HR, we used to call them administration manager.
Okay.
And they tell you, one thing we want to tell you, we will not sack you for inefficiency. So, you may be the most unproductive person, but we will not sack you. Your job is guaranteed. That's how they take. But look at the contrast today. They simply ask the person, they interview people and find out how well they will fit into a particular job description. This is what most of the HR people do, without realizing the fact that a person may be good today and he may be bad tomorrow, because that's how the life cycle works. And at the
styles of management, do you intend to say it, and if one without applying these styles of management, if one practices Dhamma, is it all right? I mean, would there not be any downfall in the business? Is
Well,
that what you intend to say?
well, you see, Dhamma, as I said before, it is the truth. It is
Yeah.
the truth of yourself. It is the truth of life. You cannot escape
Yeah.
from that. And the second thing is that a success of an organization is not solely contingent upon the performance of the people. It can be some kind of a macro element, some kind of a political or economic or legal or anything that can be a macro element that can be instrumental affecting the performance of an organization, not necessarily the people. So, therefore, organizations go through ups and downs from time to time.
Yes.
But what happens really is that there is this notion of the top management that, you know, if the company is not doing well, they feel that there is something wrong with the people. You see, without realizing that it's either a competitor action or some kind of a, you know, uncontrollable element outside their purview that is affecting this. So, they feel that okay, you replace people with another set of people and you can get towards it. So, therefore, sometimes those are called vicissitudes of life, even from a point of view of an organization. Now, every company has a philosophy.
Yeah.
Now, people of course learn management and management subjects in universities, they join organizations, and it is only after joining these organizations they realize that these organizations are governed by various philosophies of the top management.
Yeah.
That they,
Yeah.
some will believe in what we call the production philosophy. They feel that, you know, we will produce the product at the cheapest possible price and therefore the customers will buy. Whereas some people will say, no, we will have the product with so many features and therefore the customers will buy. And some people will believe that, this is of course what is happening right now in most of the organizations, some people believe that yes, we have the products and services, but they will not move unless we sell. So, then they emphasize so much on their sales force, and they go to the extent of giving targets to some of the sales people. And I mean, I am in this business arena, so I see, you know, when they come and show me their targets, those are, it's a mission impossible. You know, you can't even. So the employee is already disgruntled because he knows that he cannot reach that target, because the company believes that, you know, we have to sell. Sometimes the product is not good enough for the customer, so it's very difficult to sell. So it's not the fault of the people. So this, particularly the younger people, they go through this dilemma. Now, to answer your question, you know, like if you don't practice this weather, there is no correlation. You know, all what we are saying is if you bring in the ethical business practices, the companies will go through ups and downs anyway, but in the long run the companies will be able to maintain their image. And let us take the marketing philosophy. Marketing philosophy says satisfy the customer. So, in other words, what do is you find out from the customer what do you want, and then you adjust your product or service to serve the customer. So, if the customer is happy, the customer will look after the institution.
Sure.
So, it is a completely a different philosophy, and the entire organization, the employees, and they all will gear themselves. It's like, if you look at from the Dhamma's point of view, it's altruistic joy. Don't you think? It's, you know, you please someone, and you're happy about it, and then you are protecting the customer will protect the institution will last long. You know, this is how you can, you know, reconcile Dhamma with the philosophies of various businesses.
Yeah, definitely. Now, having discussed that, sir, now you also talked about human resources. Now, what about the management of human resources? Are there elements that in the management of human resources that go along with the Dhamma?
Now, this is a very crucial area, and I think I do not know whether, because I'm not specializing in the human resource management, so therefore I don't think I'm that much competent. But since I am a lecturer, I teach a lot of students,
Yeah.
and they go for various interviews, and they come and tell me how these interviews are conducted, the types of questions they ask them. And I am surprised, because you see, the human resources, the human element, the human aspect is the heart of any organization. You can have technology, you can have any amount of technology, the modern technology with which you can run an organization, but finally what matters is the human aspect of the business. And a lot of people think that if you have a nice building, a nice office, a nice all these technologies, you can run it. It never happens. So if the human resources are the heart of an organization, then the organization should have a system of identifying the right people, the right strengths, and to attract the people, the ones who are good at their work from outside. And in most of the places, the students come and tell me the questions they ask. Sometimes it's like, tell us how we could enhance our profitability, when they are being interviewed.
Okay.
And we will test you for 1 year, and if you don't perform, we are very sorry. The man is demotivated from day one. Sure. You see, so people don't realize that when you deal with human emotions, because a motivated employee is the biggest asset of any organization. If you are motivated, they can do wonders, because the future of any organization lies upon innovativeness, creativity. Now these things actually come from the human resources, and they need to be given that opportunity.
And the freedom.
And the freedom, because in most of the places we see, I am not referring to all the organization, but wherever you go, you see people are kind of firefighting. It's day-to-day operational problems. Always it's a problem. It's a problem. They are on the phone. Trying to sort out some issue. They simply don't have time to sit and think. Okay, what are we going to do? Is there anything else? Can we go for a market development? Can we go for a product development? Can we go for diversification? And they are not given that opportunity. So, the way these HR divisions are handling the employees, sometimes you wonder whether they have become, very mechanical, and to ask them this kind of questions. And because they are desperate for a job, they will accept the job. But you are not motivated to, and from that day onwards, they are looking for another job. This is what is really happening. That is why the employee turnover is very, very high in most of these organizations. They always look for another job, and they are unhappy. It's very rare that someone will honestly and sincerely say, I am very, very happy in this place, and I would like to work in this place until I tell me a single employee who will tell that today. But early it wasn't the case. 10, 20 years ago, it wasn't the case.
Definitely. And also that might even, increase, not really the competitiveness, but one would try to come forward, even by backbiting another, just to survive in the organization.
This is what happens, because you see, then you resort to various other ways and means of surviving, and then carrying tales, and and in fact the people who are resorting to that kind of activities are also recognized, unfortunately.
Yes, especially the bosses recognize the ones who carry tails. Not all. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, so any organization, the boss has favorites.
Yeah.
Only the favorites have the access to them.
Yes.
So this is very, very common. Whereas you will have someone good, someone really excellent, someone who can really perform out there, and you don't see them.
Definitely.
So the HR divisions have to have some systems to recognize the people and keep monitoring them, and not only that, even when they have grievances, they should be able to discuss them, even if they have problems outside the office arena, because it is affecting the organization. So this is where the Dhamma can come in. because
Yeah.
we always think Dhamma is it's more spiritual, you know, it's not really for your day to day, which is not true. After all, Sri Lanka is a Buddhist country, and if we do not apply, look at what is happening in most of the organization. Yes, you know, they have on the 1st of January they are inviting all the religious leaders and they have the chanting of Pirit and perhaps, you know,
Kiribati and all that.
and then there will be a sermon, but I am yet to hear a sermon, with due respect to all. I am yet to hear a sermon, because most of these sermons they are saying the duties of the employees. What about the duties of the bosses, you know, towards the employees? I haven't heard anyone emphasizing on that kind of aspects, you know, because the bosses also have responsibility towards the employees. Maybe because, you know,
Especially in the Singalovada Sutra, it is
absolutely,
emphasized by the Buddha.
absolutely. So today these things must be emphasized and re-emphasized. Organizers can last or cannot last, we don't know, because